We are ordering something and there are no delivery executives available. What do? We go to the next platform where this is available. 500 rupees, 1000 rupee order value gone. Person delivering 15 to 20 orders a day. If the guy is delayed by 7 days, that's approximately $1,000 to $2,000 worth of potential revenue lost. There is nobody who's talking to him. How are you doing? Is your training good? Are you understanding? Nobody's doing that. What we do with knowledge workers, you don't do this with your frontline talent. We don't have a mobile app. We don't offer mobile apps to our customers. You run everything: information exchange, document receiving, sharing information, sharing scheduling, sharing policies. It's just WhatsApp.
Frontline hiring of today operates in two different worlds. Businesses think in weeks while workers think in days. This gap in organizational processes and worker expectations is causing industries billions. But my guest for today believes that the answer lies not in mere dashboards or platforms, but in smarter, engaging conversations. Welcome to Hired by iimjobs, presented by All Things Talent, a podcast series where we talk to the leaders of today, shaping the workforce of tomorrow. I am joined by Mr. Krishna Khandelwal, CEO and founder of Hunar.ai, a company that's rethinking how AI can engage, onboard, and retain the workforce of today, all through a chat on WhatsApp. Krishna is a chemical engineer from IIT Kanpur, but ended up doing investment banking for 7 years. In 2022, he started Hunar.ai with the belief that AI-led interactions can bring empathy and speed to frontline workforce management. Welcome to the show, Krishna.
Thank you, Kancha. Thank you. Super excited for the conversation today.
I want to start my first question around the biggest or sometimes the most overlooked cost drivers in frontline hiring today. And there is, recent data that suggests that the frontline workforce ecosystem today, the scale is staggering. The global non-payroll spend alone sits somewhere between 250 to 300 million US dollars. And yet inefficiencies persist at every step at the hiring funnel. I want to understand what is it that organizations truly lack today. And if we can have this discussion around, 15 to 21 day, the hiring circle, that's sometimes costing large organizations, retail organizations, huge in terms of operational efficiency and revenue loss.
Okay. So let's establish certain facts on how this ecosystem operates today.
Right.
For any business, for any non-IT business, frontline workforce constitutes about 80 to 90% of their workforce. You think quick service restaurants, you think logistics, you think e-commerce, you think retail. The numbers are staggering in terms of what percentage of the workforce works in frontline jobs, right? And most of these jobs are directly correlated to the business metrics, right? So if you're a retail firm, your same store sales growth is determined by the quality of person on the floor as much as it's determined by the location of the store. Why does this problem exist today, right? Despite such a large segment, I think most of the technology spend has gone towards knowledge workers, right? For two reasons. One, that's perceived as a far bigger problem, or that has been perceived as a far bigger problem by organizations. But second, it's also very hard. Frontline workforce management is very messy because it's not in one location. It's very decentralized. You don't have the entire workforce sitting in one location. You have like thousands of branches. You have hundreds of stores. You have multiple factory locations. So because the workforce is so decentralized and fragmented, the systems which you have been using, the technology systems you have been using, it's not designed for this extremely hyper-local distributed workforce, right? Now, frontline workers, they want job tomorrow, right? Their life depends on them earning that money. Yet the processes today is designed in a very white-collar thought process. For you and me, it doesn't really matter if it takes 15 days, 21 days for an organization to onboard us, or for our frontline worker, it matters a lot. And even if the person is really, really good, he cannot wait for 21 days for your organization. Now, if you think about the cost part of it, right? One of the interesting facts, and I would have met probably 1,000 organizations in the last 3.5 years of this journey. less than 5% of them knew their actual cost per hire. They don't know what their cost per hire is, right? And even if they know, the cost per hire today is cost of data, cost of recruiter, cost of office, and then you sum it up all together and you come up with the number which is cost per hire. But that's not the real cost. The real cost essentially is there are two components which I feel are completely ignored, direct or indirect, however you want to perceive it. Now imagine you are a bank and you have 3,000 locations. How do you standardize quality of hiring across 3,000 locations from your headquarters in Mumbai? It's impossible.
It's impossible, right?
So the way you hire is, hey, I need people. So I'm going to hire because I can't spend weeks or days interviewing hundreds of people to find those 10 people. So most of the times the hiring is done on the basis of need, and the quality in general is it's like a second thought. And there is no way for organizations to influence it because it's so decentralized, right? Now, the problem with not focusing on quality at the time of hiring is your first month, second month, third month productivity, it's very low. It's very, very low. And that then drives high attrition as well. So attrition, as much as it is problem of multiple factors, a very big component of this is when a person is hired and the person is not able to perform in the first month, he or she will attrite. All of us have experienced this scenario where we are ordering something and there are no delivery executives available. What do? We go to the next platform where this is available, right?
Correct.
500 rupees, 1,000 rupee order value gone.
Yeah.
A person delivering 15 to 20 orders a day, if the guy is delayed by 7 days, that's approximately $1,000 to $2,000 worth of potential revenue lost.
Lost,
that
yeah.
But that also means that your customer repeat all the CAC money which you have spent. So your marketing dollars, all the promises you have made on various social media platforms, more than just the revenue, it also impacts a very, very low ROI on that marketing spend.
Krishna, very valid points, and we've all gone through it. We've seen it. And while you were talking about investing time in hiring a frontline worker versus the quality of hire and all of these challenges, I was thinking in my head about even if somebody stays, right? The another challenge is retaining them. Retention becomes another thing. Even if somebody stays for a month, it is, and like you said, right, first month attrition, it is said it is notoriously high for this segment, and rightly so. How do organizations and what do organizations do when when people are leaving them soon after joining? What do you think is fundamentally broken in these traditional setups? You spoke of one size fit approach cannot work for a frontline worker. What do you think is broken, and how can later we can discuss it? How can they fix it? Like one or two things that can either fix it or maybe build trust in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. We'll walk through a journey of a person, of a prospective employee till the time the person becomes an employee. And let's walk through the process and you'll be able to see where all it's breaking, right? Now, a person visits a bank branch to get hired as a relationship manager or an insurance salesperson or a housing finance salesperson, right? He meets the branch manager. The branch manager meets the person and says, okay, you are hired. I'm selecting you. Now, somewhere in the system, this person details will be sent up. Then somebody in the HR is going to go to some archaic system and generate what is called a letter of intent or an offer letter.
Hopefully,
Okay? Takes time. You got to fill in the information, you got to generate the offer letter. Then the offer letter is triggered to this person on his Gmail. All right. And his Gmail ID, which he gave, was wrong. People give Gmail IDs all the time wrong. Yeah. Now, you don't know if he has received it. He doesn't know if you have sent the offer letter. Couple of days gone. Now, the person receives an onboarding request where he has to submit all the documents. And this is like a 5-page long document. And you're expecting the person to upload like 10 KB file and not 1 MB, and it has to be PDF. And you're talking about frontline worker, okay? He doesn't have access to laptops, etc. So how is he going to do it? He goes to a cyber cafe. He does some formatting, he pays some money, he gets it uploaded. Now he doesn't know what happens to his documents. 8 to 10 days gone. He has no visibility. What does selection mean? Am I gonna join this organization on? So this is the point where he starts getting completely lost, right? Now he has signed the offer letter, he has completed the documents, etc., etc., etc. Now he's waiting for his joining date. It's about a month away. He is in anticipation of what my targets are going to be, what is the work culture gonna be like, what is my policy, kitna chutti milta hai, how many holidays I'm gonna get, what are my working hours. You don't tell this person this much, right? So from the time he has accepted his offer letter to the time he's joined, he's living in confusion. He doesn't know what his role is going to be. He doesn't know what his monthly targets are going to be. He doesn't know who his training manager is going to be. He doesn't know who his on-ground buddy going to be. He doesn't know whether he'll be trained on the specific products he has to sell or not. He doesn't know about the organization itself. We're talking about Frontline. It's not that, hey, you know what, this guy is going and researching on Glassdoor or whatever. That's not happening. So he's completely clueless. He joins on day one, and the branch manager says, all right, you're going to go in the field and start selling. He's like, what? What product should I sell? And what's my differentiation compared to other competitors, etc., etc., etc. And it's not that there is like gazillions of talented people who can sell insurance. Only limited set of people. So you have to get in fresh set of talent, train them, etc., etc. The first 15 days, he's lost. There is no central HR touch point. There is nobody who's talking to him. How are you doing? Is your training good? Are you understanding? Nobody's doing that. What we do with knowledge workers, you don't do this with your frontline talent. 15 days later, he has sold nothing. So he starts getting pressure from the branch manager that you have not sold anything. You got to sell in the next 15 days, right? Pressure, pressure, pressure. The guy says, I'm going to get my payroll and I'm going to leave the organization, right? This entire piece leads to a lot of confusion, performance pressure for wrong reasons. If he knew that this is going to be the role, he could have prepared himself, etc., etc., etc. And then the guy leaves, right? So throughout the process, there is no engagement with this guy. You could have easily come in, and it's very hard, by the way, for an organization to communicate with 5,000 new joinings. There are people who hire 10, 10, 15,000 people on a monthly basis across hundreds of locations. It's impossible. You cannot engage with that size of a workforce in that distributed environment. You cannot have an HR person in every branch, right? This lack of engagement, lack of clarity around the role, around the incentives, around the policies leads to this built up, which is not just first month. It starts a month before the person has joined because it starts from the time he has signed the offer letter. And in that 2-month period, 1 month before and 1 month after the joining, he's gone through the entire experience. And 2 months for this segment of people is good enough for them to understand whether I'm going to stick around, whether I'm going to be joining this company for a long time or not. And the moment they get the clarity, they flip.
Krishna, you spoke of lack of engagement, and I was, coming to this another point around the way engagement systems or communication models are also evolving. We can't talk about desktop systems because anyway, they are not relevant for frontline workforce. But for mainstream or white collar jobs, even those are also changing, right? Conversational models are also changing. Tell me something like beyond just WhatsApp. I know that is something that you passionately want to talk about, and we'll do that later. But beyond WhatsApp, what is that shift in worker behavior, especially when people are hiring frontline workers who are Gen Zs, which is making these conversational experiences a non-negotiable for engagement?
Yeah. So one is the youngness of the population. It's becoming very young, there are a lot of Gen Zs now joining the workforce, even the frontline workforce.
Correct.
Most of them have access to social media. Most of them know about what's happening in the world via bite-sized content. Most of them want to know what's happening in the world by not reading a newspaper, but by actually listening to someone.
Something.
In a language in which they understand, in a way, in a format in which they understand. And if you try to impose that, hey, you want to know what's happening in the world, read this PDF. Nobody's doing that, right?
Yeah.
What they do in their personal lives, they carry it forward to the professional life. They're expecting the same kind of engagement. When this guy who is so very well aware about how the Instagram works and how the Facebook and all the meta platforms and how to engage on Twitter, he knows all of this. When he joins the organization, he's now made to go inside a classroom training, where there is a trainer who is running a presentation which doesn't look good, and he's like, why am I engaging in this way, right? And that attention span is just so small, where he's used to consuming content in a very fast way, in a very, very short form of content.
Yeah.
Is fundamentally changing the way you converse. So
Correct.
if you think about this entire ecosystem, for any human to human engagement, conversation is the key, right? You and I can just keep looking at each other, but for us to engage, we need to converse.
Converse, yeah.
This is how your workforce also is expecting to engage via conversation. The challenge is that you might be coming from a different part of the country where the way you are spoken to is very different in Tamil Nadu, then it's very different in Gujarat, then it's very different. It's not just the language, it's in the way you communicate, the tonality, the expressions, the emphasis on certain words, right? It's just so different. Now, if you try to pick up English as a language, it doesn't matter if the English is an Indian accent. Even English is spoken very differently in Tamil Nadu and in Hyderabad, then it's spoken in Gujarat, and then it's spoken in Bihar, and it's spoken in UP. So you need to facilitate conversation in the way a person is used to in the environment in which the person lives, which is the language, the tonality, the expressions, the emphasis, the pauses, everything, right? So after WhatsApp, we realized that there was still a very large part of the workforce which was still not engaging also on WhatsApp. And hence, we had to then come up with these voice AI agents, which will speak to the person, to your employee or to the candidate in the language in which they are comfortable, in the tonality in which they are used to, in the format in which they are used to, because they are a part of this new age social media generation. So voice AI agents is truly that missing piece, according to me, in the conversational experience, which drives engagement, because we discussed how engagement is important. And that's the next frontier of how the workforce will engage.
I want to go back to where it began for you. What did you see in the platform that sort of convinced you that it was the only legal choice for effectively reaching and managing a distributed frontline workforce? It is obviously something that most of them uses across geographies, but at the same time, to think that this is going to be successful and the whole brain around it. I want to know something, some details around where it all began.
So when we before starting Hunar, we spent, Shantanu, who's my co-founder, and I spent over a year traveling almost aimlessly across the country, right? Whether it's manufacturing plants in Bhaddi or mines in Goa or steel manufacturing plants in Jamshedpur or bank branches across the country, and just numerous locations. And we would meet, wherever you go, you will always find a group of individuals who are either finding a job or struggling with a job. And we would essentially then talk to them, and we would ask various simple questions like, do you know what an ESI is? Do you know what PF is? Do you know what a role of EPFO is? Do you know what how organization is supposed to pay you? And, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What is a contractual workforce? What is a full-time workforce? And some of these information you can just Google. Right? But they were not doing that. But they were very good at WhatsApp video calling, sending notification to their friends on WhatsApp, buying stuff on Amazon and Meesho and all these platforms, right? They were very good at creating Instagram reels. So from a technology perspective, I would say they were sophisticated. In some cases, they were far better user of their smartphone than I even till today am. And so it was not the technology medium which was the problem. So like, okay, if I'm going to give this person a mobile app, he's not going to engage because he's used to buying stuff online and then a WhatsApp notification comes to him and he's used to see that and he's used to pay using that. He's just so comfortable using this medium.
Right.
Almost all of them were okay to pay people using Google Pay and QR codes on WhatsApp, but none of them were very comfortable in paying money to somebody on a social media or an e-commerce platform using net banking or credit card, right? We saw, I don't know, I would have met probably 50,000 people across a year in different locations. And the only common factor, whether you went from north to south, east to west, irrespective of what state, irrespective of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, was the comfort in which people had in using WhatsApp, right? And conversational commerce has already used WhatsApp to a very large extent. So we borrowed that idea from conversational commerce. India was doing conversational commerce on WhatsApp. So like this person churns really fast, driving an app adoption, training them on how to use a workplace related app, it's going to be so hard because they are just so used to this medium of exchange of information. So right away, we discarded apps and desktop applications and web applications. None of that will work. You need WhatsApp. It's safe. It's encrypted. You can have employer branding. You can share information inside it, which you anyways are sharing on their personal Gmails, etc. So that discovery over a year, it was very obvious that we will never build a mobile app. So we don't have a mobile app. We don't offer mobile apps to our customers. It's just WhatsApp, right? You run everything, information exchange, document receiving, sharing information, sharing scheduling, sharing policies, you run WhatsApp, right? So that discovery for a year or so and how comfortable India was in using WhatsApp, irrespective of what language, what geography, what religion, what tier of city they were living in, it was the most ubiquitous communication channel which we came across, and hence it became very obvious choice for us to use WhatsApp instead of mobile apps.
Right. There is still some sort of a skepticism around using, getting used to AI making those human decisions. And for companies that are sort of, considering these chatbots or AI-driven HR solutions, what is it that the business leaders look in a platform, to ensure that it delivers not just speed, but also fairness, transparency, and contextual relevance for them? Maybe if you can answer that.
Yeah, good question. People should be skeptic about using AI. I don't think so. It's meant for every organization. It requires a very forward thinking, at least right now. The way things are changing in AI, maybe 6 months later, it might become more widespread. But I always tell everyone, maybe it's not for you. So I don't think so it's for everyone. If you want this human to be really effective, the human HR to be really effective, you would expect this person to be a subject matter expert on your organization and every aspect of your organization. Yes, but it's hard. Do you expect that somebody in HR who has joined 3 months back to really understand a very complex insurance product you are selling? No, it won't happen. That is not how it has happened. Let's replace or provide this HR a co-pilot. This co-pilot understands your company's product, understands your company's policies. Day one. This is a subject matter expert, which you never had, to talk to your workforce, to get your army ready to go out in the market and win business. This is how you got to think when you think about AI and you think about decision making. First, it has to coexist with humans. And second, because you want your workforce to be this enabled and this ready, Akanksha, it's impossible for a human to have that much level of subject matter expertise about your organization. But trust me, it is very easy for an AI agent to have that subject matter expertise. So you should think about this agent as a co-pilot to your HR or to your sales team, which is always readily available to dispense information, to share information, which is factually right, which if you have objections, if you have questions, this agent is fully capable to answer. You ask technical questions, the agent will answer. You ask functional questions, the agent will answer. You take your organization context and AI mimics your best subject matter expert inside the organization. Let's talk about fairness. Let's talk about ethics. If you look at the entire frontline workforce ecosystem today, it's a negative NPS ecosystem. There is inherently a lack of trust because there's lack of engagement, as we have talked about. So there are multiple agents and middlemen in between. They don't trust the employees. Employees don't trust them. They don't trust the employers. Employers don't trust them. Biggest workforce in India works in the negative NPS ecosystem. So you think that current ecosystem is not biased, and if you think that your current ecosystem is perfect, and if you think the current ecosystem is working within the ethical boundaries, if it were, the ecosystem would not be a negative NPS ecosystem, right? So first, it's not already fair. It's not already not biased. It is biased. There are biases against age. There are biases against gender. There are biases against religion. So this already exists. The current ecosystem already has its flaws. So first, that is the acceptance which organizations need to have. Now, when it comes to AI agents, you're absolutely right. If you do not define the ethical guardrails, if you do not define the boundaries, if you do not remove the biases, yes, it can learn from the bad practices happening on the ground, because end of the day, there are always going to be humans involved along with the AI. And hence those the way you deploy these agents, the way you define the ethical guardrails. But I can't imagine a scenario where it can become worse from where we are today.
Krishna, I think I've asked most of the questions that I feel were related to this discussion. Is there anything you feel was not covered and we should cover? Please go ahead.
No. So all good questions. One thing which the reason why we are so passionate, right? I don't come from HR as a background. I don't think I understood what human resources do till I was in investment banking. So we did not set out, I think HR needs to be perceived as a business problem. That's how I perceive it as. And if you're thinking about our journey as a country from $4-5 trillion economy to 2047, $25 trillion economy, can you imagine a scenario where we can become that without 90% of our workforce being enabled more? No, it won't happen, right? So your knowledge workforce won't take you to 25 trillion. It is your frontline workforce, your manufacturing, your contract manufacturing, CDMO, pharmaceutical, life sciences, insurance. This is what is going to take your economy to $25 trillion economy. It cannot happen if a large part of your workforce operates in a negative NPS. You cannot have a negative NPS ecosystem. A lot of innovation has happened in India, be it UIDAI, be it UPI, be it GEM platform, which has brought positive NPS to all these payment ecosystems and identity verification ecosystems and banking ecosystems, and how government and suppliers and vendors coordinate with each other.
Yeah.
A similar disruption is needed for this. So that's why we are doing this for India. You cannot become a $25 trillion economy without enabling your frontline workforce. Conversation is a key to enabling them. And I think voice AI for a country like ours presents an amazing, because we like to talk. Like Indians, We love to converse.
Love to. Yeah.
We understand when we talk to each other. And with Gen Zs entering into this workforce, the way organizations think about their entire workforce strategy has to change.
Thank you. Thank you, Krishna. I had a very insightful session, and I think I can keep listening to you for the next 1.5 hours also. Very enlightening and very engaging. Thank you so much for your time, Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Akansha, for your time.